Sooner Nation, Thunder Nation, we are back. This is the Just Okay Sports Podcast. I am one of your village idiots, Daryl. I am here with my brother Jared and my good friend Troy. Please like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review if you like this more than just average podcast. We would appreciate it. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
Jared, you go first.
I'm good. I mean, it's been a crazy day. So you know,
Why has it been a crazy day?
Yeah, I would love
outside...
to know the details of why today's been a crazy day.
Okay, well, it's like, okay, I was gonna say because of the OU football news that's been, the transfer portal, all that, and still recovering from the whole weekend shenanigans of what the committee tried to.
Please
pass.
tell me we're going to get into that. Please
okay.
tell me we're going to get into that later.
But we're going.
All right.
Yeah, hang on. Before we get into that, so I was supposed to be on vacation this week. Like, I hadn't really taken hardly any time off.
You don't take vacation. You work, bro.
Well, I know. And apparently I know I'm going to, because literally, like, last night, one of my guys called me and was like, hey, I might be out some or whatever. And I was like, okay, no big deal. Like, if you're out here, there, whatever. Well, then he called me this morning and like he's having to fly to Detroit because of some family stuff and, like a death in the family or whatever. And I was like, okay, like, I'm not going to like,
hey, RIP, man. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. So I was like, take care of what you do. So like now it's like, I'm like half, like my boss is like, well, try to take your time off and as much as you can, but it's like, that's like almost worse because then it's like, you feel like you're working, but you're on vacation. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather just be like, either I'm working or I'm on vacation. You know what I mean? So anyway,
sure.
So I was like, today I was supposed to be off. And then it was like, I spent all day like on my phone or on calls or trying to deal with stuff. So anyway, nothing like really bad, but it was just one of those days. And then,
I have
like,
a question.
trying to keep up with OU Twitter. So
I have a question.
Yeah, go Troy.
Yes.
What do you do, Jared?
I am a system engineer.
That sounds important.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
It's what gets you into the club seats at spring games.
For people that don't know, that's a long running joke. That's great. I love that. Thank you.
So I just want to clarify that the shenanigans that you've had to deal with over the weekend all have to do with work and the chaos there, not a certain night out that we've had.
Didn't you have a date?
Didn't you have a date?
Yes, I had a date. Why is it surprising? I'm a single dude in Florida.
I didn't say that was surprising. I want to know about the date.
We're just trying to find out how it went. Did you order chicken fingers from Charleston's? That's what we need to know.
Where did you go? Where did you take this date?
How did this go?
So she's a Patriots fan, so that was
interesting
because what was funny is like we were texting that day and I was like, is that game over yet? Because I wasn't watching it. And
you mean the 6-0 game?
Yeah. I pulled up my phone. I saw 6-0, and I was like, "Oh, I guess it's not over." And she's like, "No, it's over." And I was like, "What?" And I went back and looked, and I was like, "Oh, yeah." So, but no, we just went and had a couple of drinks and watched the football at Miller's Ale House. So it was low key. It wasn't like a big thing. It's just I don't know why this is like this is something we have to talk about on the pod. This is dumb.
Dude, as soon as you put it in the text message, that was coming up in the pod.
Oh,
I guarantee.
Let's be clear. Let's hold on. Time out. Because let's be very clear. We have, for the entire season of Team 129, done podcasting on Sunday nights, unless just something ridiculous goes down. Troy had some things. Jared was unavailable for said pod for said date. So it seems like it was a little serious to just shove such a big
the season's
over sports to the side.
The season's over for OU until the bowl game. Okay, I didn't anticipate.
Crap! You're the one that said you don't care about the bowl game.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's a lame bowl.
Then the season's over for you.
No, it's not over for me. I don't care about it, but I'm still gonna watch it. But like, my point was, there's nothing we're covering. Like, we were covering like the playoff selection, all that. We could easily done this Monday, and apparently it worked out better than we did it Monday. So you're welcome, okay? Because we have plenty to cover because of the transfer portal, which was on fire today, not just for OU but for everybody.
Jared, don't try to change the subject into OU. By the way, I'm sorry, I'm giving you the Daryl treatment right now, so I apologize, Jared. You and I are on the same wavelength, but I'm giving you the Daryl treatment right now because as soon as you said you had a date, I was like, I can't let this one go. I'm sorry.
Next time
I'm
going to tell you.
Hell, dude, I lost my job last week, and I'm like, whatever. Let's do the pod.
Look, next time I'm just going to tell you guys that like I got in a bad car crash and they're amputating my leg or something instead. But
we got to get the audio clip on that one.
Yeah. So absolutely. No, it's fine. It's whatever. Let's just how are you, Troy? You haven't even told us how you're doing.
No, hold on. I know I haven't because there's a reason. Was it a good date? Did it end well? Rate it 1 to 10.
Like an 8.
Oh, is there going to be a second date?
Probably, yeah.
Oh,
well done, you dog. You.
The first time I've ever mentioned a date I've been on, and you guys are just like, we've spent 10 minutes after I'm staying up late because my brother is an idiot. So here we are.
It's not his fault.
No.
It doesn't matter. I'm not ever blaming my niece. It's his fault.
That's exactly right. We're not going to throw the niece under the bus here on it, even though we just kind of did. Now, you did mention, Jared, that it's kind of good that we push things back because it is official.
Shut up, Daryl. I haven't said how my day is going.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, Troy.
Yeah, he doesn't care about you. I was actually interested. I actually asked Troy, so go ahead and tell me how your day was. Just talk to me.
You cost us like an hour of wait time to record, so you're going to sit down and listen to how my day is going, okay? So This is what I did today. A lot of LinkedIn, but I've got a job interview tomorrow, which I'm fairly excited about.
Yeah, let's go.
I have no idea how it's going to turn out, but it's I'm excited.
What do they do for like CEO interviews? Is it different? Does it get a whole different process than us?
Totally different process. It's very, very selective, but also you got to bring the wit. You got to bring the charisma, that I ooze, if you know what I mean.
Sure. Do you have to do it from like a helicopter, or do they like give you a pass on that?
No, it's more of a limo, not a helicopter.
Okay,
more of a limo. I mean, if it was a president interview, that's where the helicopter comes into play.
Yeah, I don't know all the executive,
It's okay. It's okay. As you can tell, I'm just wearing like a mesh shirt, so I've got the executive outfit going on here. So
you're looking good. You're looking dapper.
Very.
It's Here's the thing. Honestly, I wake up this morning. I didn't help with the kids, but typically I help with the kids, get them out the door, and then I try to go through the same routine as I would as I was working. Get on, do my hair, make it look so dapper as it is now, and then get on LinkedIn, start applying, start doing the whole thing. And so making the connections, hitting the network. It's exhausting. It's a job in itself, dude. It is exhausting. That being said, Daryl, I think you wanted to transition or something. Whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah, the other thing that can be exhausting is trying to figure out who the crap plays football where now in college football because of said transfer portal. So we're just going to go straight to that one.
That was a really good transition. Let me just tell you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's just start here. I think it's fair to say that Sooner Nation was not mad, but shocked at the news of DG transferring as that came out this morning. So let's just start there. I mean, yes. Go ahead, Jared. You were ready to go. So you hit that first.
I mean, maybe a little bit. I wasn't totally shocked. I figured it would happen after the bowl game, but it makes sense that he left or that he's hitting the portal before the bowl game, gives Jackson Arnold a chance to get practices in and all that sort of stuff. So I think as a team, from a team perspective, I think it makes perfect sense. And for him, it does too, because the portal's so hot right now. McCord from Ohio State is in the portal. Like everybody's hopping in right now.
I have questions on that later on in the pod, by the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think some people were, but it's I think anybody that thought he was going to be back at OU next year, I just did not see that being really feasible in any way. Okay. So I'm not surprised. I'm supporting him wherever he goes. I've seen rumors. I guess the rumor is what Mississippi State, Oregon, and USC are the ones that everybody's saying are the leaders. And even honestly, even if he went to USC, I'll be in the same situation I was with Caleb, where it's I'll cheer for him, but I'm gonna hope USC loses every game.
Can I speak?
Yes, you may, Troy. Go right ahead.
All right. If you thought this was a surprise, you're freaking living under a rock. I'm sorry. This was predetermined. This was predetermined. I'm going to call it how I see it. This was predetermined, and the OC hiring for OU was predetermined. You don't go 48 hours and then you hire an OC. You don't go right as the transfer portal starts and a top 10 Heisman contender, a top 5 quarterback in college football transfers out. This is all predetermined. Now, it's not I'm telling you, it's predetermined, dude. Like, it's too much of a coincidence that all this happens. That I unlike Ohio State, which I still need to figure out the Ohio State Kyle McCord thing, but we have somebody waiting in the wings, right? That we feel confident in going into SEC play. That should tell you something.
Well, and even Texas today had a safety enter that's played a lot for them, and they're getting ready to play in the playoff.
We had a safety as well, enter. Yeah. So that's played a lot for us the last 3 years, 136 tackles or whatnot.
But I'm saying, like, there are players going in that are about to play for a national championship. That's a little different.
That is a little different. But I will say this, like, the DG thing is not surprising whatsoever because they have been coy about this for the last 2 weeks. About, is DG entering? Is DG not?
Well, see, okay, so let me say this. So I'm with you, but not in that I was the one that kept saying DG himself and BV said in interviews before the season he was not coming back. That's why I got so frustrated with the whole.
Can you pull up that you keep bringing this up? I have not heard this audio. I need to hear this audio.
Yes, it's all the way back in fall ball. Like, DG says in a post-practice interview, with this being my last year, blah, 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 blah. Brent Venables, the day before at his opening press conference of fall camp, said, DG gets one last go round. Him or Levy did. One of the two of them says it's his last year. Now, he plays really well, and everybody knows that he's got another year of eligibility left. So I understand the conversation coming up, but to me, it seemed the predetermined part was he was going to the NFL, right? Like, if he does everything he's supposed to do at OU, then he's done what he can do, right? And he's going to the NFL. So I don't disagree that it was somewhat predetermined that he was leaving. I just figured I don't know what else he can do to up his draft stock. Therefore, I assumed he's going to the NFL, not transferring to another school.
Well, I mean, I think when you look at it from his perspective, like, I don't know, I've heard so many like things that make sense, like motives and all that from his perspective to OU's perspective to whoever. Personally, I think for him, it's like the way I look at it is if he goes to another school, be it whatever school that is, the USC or Oregon, whatever, any of the ones listed, and he balls out, then he can say, look, I've been to 3 schools and I've had success at all 3. Right.
Sure.
And that improves his draft stock. At worst, he has a mediocre season or whatever, not a good season, and his draft stock's pretty much about where it was, and he got a bag to go wherever he went anyway. Right. So from his perspective, it makes perfect sense. When you really look at it from his perspective, it's like there's almost no reason for him to stay at OU. And that's not wishing any will upon him or wishing he would leave OU. It's just the situation that we're in today. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there was probably a coy conversation at the beginning of the year because I do think they think highly of Jackson Arnold.
Right.
And I think they think highly of Michael Hawkins. And I think, from what his dad's tweeting, his dad fully expects that he's going to be able to come in during the offseason and
win the job,
compete for the QB1 job. So
are you serious?
Which if you watch
his dad just said, look, what he said is what every athlete and every athlete's dad would say. Michael, my son, is not coming to OU next year to be a backup. He is coming to win a QB job. That's his job.
I fully expect Michael Hawkins to be transferring out after next year or the year after.
I don't think it means that necessarily.
Dude, look, here's the deal. I will say this about Michael Hawkins. When you watch him in the bubble of the Elite 11, yikes. When you watch that guy in an actual game situation,
dude, he is a baller.
He's a baller. So I'm not writing that kid off at all. I saw the Elite 11. I thought, he's not that great. But, dude, he can run and he slings it in a game. And I'm talking really good throws, high-level throws. But all that to say, I'm with you, Jared. But I think the transfer was the surprising part because I do think there was some momentum down the stretch that he might stay when the reality was everybody thought he was just going to go to the NFL. Because
that's fair. That's fair to say.
That's what I think is the surprise right now.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Jared. I think that there had been some conversations he was leaving. Therefore, there would probably been some conversations of promising Jackson Arnold some things for next year.
Right.
Well, now I get a draft grade that says I'm a 4th or 5th round pick. That's not a guarantee of anything. And at best, I'm going to have a league minimum salary, which is about $600,000 a year. And if Oregon or USC or whoever's willing to pay me $750,000 or $1 million, that's guaranteed money, right? If I go to the NFL and stink it up in camp, or they decide they just don't like me, I get cut and I make nothing, right?
Well,
so from a business perspective, it is the right decision for DG.
So, I mean, and then that's the thing is like, I don't really think, I guess my point is like, I don't think it's that massive of a surprise. I mean, I get what you're saying. Even then, I don't think I think transferring was a possibility too. But especially once Lebby left, I was like, we talked about that. I was like, he may just try to pull DG with him to Mississippi State. But yeah, I mean, and honestly, when you look at the guys that entered the portal, because I know like people have been like, oh my God, you lost so many people. And it's like, really, when I look at the list of guys that entered the portal, there's not really anybody on that list that completely surprises me. I mean, probably the biggest surprise that everybody that left is probably Savion Byrd, just because like it seems like his path to play next year was probably the easiest out of the guys on the list, right? Like,
yeah, but when you've had 2 years of shot after shot after shot and it just keeps falling apart, it's just time to get a fresh start.
I think okay, let me ask you this. Where do you guys think the DG's best landing spot is? I think it's Oregon.
100%.
Yes, it's Oregon.
100%. From a financial standpoint, he's closer to home. I mean, all of it. I've also started to hear UCLA starting to heat up a little bit that way too, which again, Jared, I think, was the first one that saw some of that. And that's where he was going to enroll before he came here. Like
their QB.
That's true.
I forget their QB.
Dante Moore.
Dante Moore, yeah.
He's in the portal. And the room, and what's crazy about it is this could get wild in the next week or so, because apparently there's a lot of smoke of Dante Moore getting a lot of recruitment to Oregon too. So it's like there might be a little bit of like crazy swapping around of QBs up there in the Northwest.
So here's the thing, like you said, something I want to come back to. I know USC has had their name in on DG's wheelhouse or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I understand what you said about Caleb Williams and rooting for him. My hatred for Lincoln Riley supersedes my love for DG. And so I still would want them to lose every freaking game.
No, that's what I said. I would want them to lose every game.
Jared wants it to be 400 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, but a loss every single week. That's what he wants.
Which I don't know if y'all saw the tweet I sent you of me dragging a USC fan on Twitter that was trying to say,
I did see it.
OU's defense sucks. And I'm like, bro, y'all are literally worse than every I couldn't find a statistical category on defense they were better at. But anyway.
Yeah.
Also, Williams is not going to be playing in the bowl game.
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, we've got it in there. Yeah. But so, yeah, and just so y'all know, if you haven't been tracking it all day long like we have been, Marcus Hicks announced weeks ago that he was going to be transferring. He's actually going to South Dakota State, which, by the way, that's a great place to land if you are going to go down a level. I mean, you're talking about a place that's won like 35 national championships in the last 6 years, so that's huge. Jason Llewellyn, the tight end, gone. Towie Walker, that's a pretty big loss. DG gone. Nate Anderson, Savion Byrd, Reggie Grimes, Key Lawrence. That one was a little bit, not totally surprising, but a little. Marcus Major, and then Dalen Smothers was the other, which, by the way, Jared's been doing this lately, so I got to do it as well. I want to give it up to myself on this one because I said Dalen Smothers might be the running back that transfers out when everybody kept saying it was going to be Caleb Hicks. And I said Hicks is redshirting, and they want him to stick around real bad. And it worked out that way.
Well, and Yeah, I mean, Key doesn't surprise me because of RS. I mean, they've got so many guys at the safety position that are emerging. So, but also, before we get off the DG thing, because I do want to go back to something that got said this week, and I want you guys' thoughts. So, Kerry Murdoch said DG is the most important transfer since Josh Heupel.
What?
Like that DG and Gabe actually came at him. Gabe Eichert came at him about it, and he basically said it was about timing. So he said he thought that DG did more. And it's an interesting argument. I don't look, I'm going to be honest. I'm not a big Kerry Murdoch fan, especially the last, I don't know, 2-3 years.
I have a big problem with what you just said.
But his argument is, well, let me because I was with you. And then I listened to it and I still don't agree, but I think it's more understandable.
I understand what he's thinking.
So he's saying basically, yes, I know you're gonna say Troy's like Baker or Kyler or Jalen or one of those guys, right? But his argument is that DG came in when OU needed somebody like him, because if you didn't have DG, you're trying out Davis Bevel?
I get it. I totally get it. I understand the argument. But like you, Jared, I don't agree with it. Because here's the thing. If they don't come in, who do we have behind them? Nobody. Right? Like, do we really? They're Heisman winners. Okay. And I get the timing is really important and everything like that. But I'm sorry, but Baker Mayfield is the most important transfer in OU history.
Ooh, I can't go there.
No, Heupel is, sorry. Let me backtrack. Heupel is and then Baker is the most important transfer since Heupel. Yes.
I mean, look, I think DG's transfer, especially now, when we look at it, maybe even into the future, we can look at it and say,
let me ask this, Troy. Let me ask this. If we don't have DG transfer, what would have been OU's record the first year with Brent?
We don't have DG transfer. That's assuming we don't. That's assuming we don't go after anybody else in the portal.
We went after a lot of other people.
But that's we don't go.
We got DG 6 hours DG. Left in the transfer availability window.
I mean, I think maybe 5 and 8.
They went Davis 6 Bevel? And 7.
Yeah,
with
and
DG.
Maybe 5 and 8
with Davis Bevel at quarterback.
That's what I'm saying, because we never tried to get him ready for any game. And you can talk about the Texas game all you want, and I get it. He sucks. He doesn't suck. He tried his hardest. I'll give him
I'm
that.
saying that's a 2-win team with no DG.
I mean, look, I look, Troy, I'm closer to your side, but I do understand the argument. Like I said,
I understand the argument.
I think the point is, I mean, they were still pursuing Jackson Dart, so there is that avenue. Jackson Dart may have come if DG hadn't come, right? But I get it. DG did. I think the point that Kerry maybe should have phrased it as, DG is one of the most impactful players for OU in the last 20 years. And I was like, I can't disagree with that.
Is he more important? Is he a bigger impact than Kyler Murray?
Yes.
Is he a bigger impact than Baker?
No.
He's not a bigger impact, but here's the deal. You still had Trevor Knight, who, while again not great, Trevor Knight can win you games.
Playoff. We wouldn't have gotten to the playoff.
Okay, that's fine. But look, let's just pause. Before there was even a game played, the national narrative was that OU was about to be the next Nebraska, right? And we went 6 and 7, and
that was the cowherd perspective.
And no, there were multiple people saying those kinds of things.
Who?
The dude that is a cowherd guy, the other guy that what's that dude's name that wears the cowboy hat and is obnoxious as all get out?
Look, well, hang on. Let me
let me finish my thought though. Regardless, everybody was nervous that it was all going to fall apart. Multiple people were saying, you just lost Lincoln Riley. We don't know what Brent Venables is, and this could be a massive turning point for the OU program, and they may not return from it. That was being said on multiple levels. You go 6 and 7, hanging with a team that should be in the playoff, which we'll talk about again in a little bit. And if you have Davis Bevel and you go 2-10, you go 3-9, then you are set back massively. I don't know that Jackson Arnold or Peyton Bowen are here. I don't know that class is what it is.
I mean, it's a big what if. You might be right, but Jared, finish your thought.
I mean, here's my outlook on it. After hearing that, like you said, I'd probably like Josh if you're gonna take Josh Heupel out of the equation because he said since Josh Heupel, right? So past him, I'd put Baker number 1 because Baker is such an iconic Sooner now. If he's become like the face of OU football, right? Like if you're an OU fan, you know who Baker Mayfield is. If you don't, you're not an OU fan, right? And I put DG at second, and it's not that far off.
I agree.
Like,
I agree with that.
DG second DG, and it's not because DG. I don't think DG is as good as Kyler or Jalen or whatever,
right?
But the impact he had on the program, that's where I'm at. Like I'm in the middle of saying yes,
and
that's very very close.
And that's why the bigger the statement of DG is more important is the key. It's not most popular. It's not the most talented. The most again, this program would have survived with Trevor Knight leading it with a Lincoln.
Are you sure? Because without Baker Mayfield, you don't get Kyler Murray. You don't get multiple Heisman winners in a row.
Why do you not get Kyler Murray? Why?
Because Lincoln is not the quarterback guru without Baker Mayfield.
Okay, but we know that Kyler almost came here before Lincoln Riley when the offense sucked. It was down to us and A&M. So when he left A&M, that there's still a very high level chance that Kyler comes here.
Here's the thing: the whole persona of Lincoln without Baker, it doesn't start. I don't think it starts. He doesn't turn Trevor Knight into a Heisman Trophy winner.
But do you not agree he would have made Trevor Knight look much better than we ever thought?
We don't know. He had the opportunity and he chose Baker.
Right.
Look, here's my point. Because I'm not even saying his popularity. What I'm saying is that Baker brought this like the whole X factor of like Baker was this character almost. He was so whatever, and it didn't have anything to do with popularity, but it's like he wanted to be a Sooner and became a Sooner, right? Like grew up an OU fan, became an OU fan, all those things. So I guess what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if somebody came to me and just wanted to die on the hill that DG is more impactful, I'm probably not going to like die. I'm not willing to die on the hill of Baker's more because they're close enough for me. Right. Like, so that's what I'm saying. It sounds like when you say whenever like the way Carrie says it, I think is
the word important is the most important part of that whole. If DG is not here, the program is cratering.
Okay, this is what I'm saying. That's fine. My point is like the way Carrie phrased it was combative, basically from the get go, and then Gabe hopped on it, and that became a whole thing. That's fine. It's whatever. I don't think it's that big of like we're not saying that it's not a crazy statement. So, and I don't think Troy would say that's a crazy statement. He just doesn't agree.
No, right? I'll die on the Baker Mayfield hill. I mean, dude, my sign off on this podcast is Baker.
I know, but what I'm saying is, you agree that he has he is a very, very important part of the program. So that it is
100%.
So
100%. He's the second most important transfer we've had since Josh Heupel. Josh Heupel is the most important transfer we may have ever had in the history of football.
And look, I've had questions about DG, and fair enough. But the thing is like now when you really take a step back and you look at it, DG is like he's done his job. He's taken the criticism and he's gotten better. And he's been a Sooner the whole time. So it's like I said, wherever he lands, I'll still be cheering for him. I don't care if he ends up saying, well, never mind, I'm not transferring, I'm going to the NFL. He goes to USC. I don't care. I'll still cheer for him. If he goes to USC, like I said, I'm going to cheer for him to lose, or I'm going to cheer for him to have 1,000 yards a game and lose the game. I don't care. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So I like I said, well wishes to him and everything else. It's Jackson Arnold there now. So the good news is the move. I think the thing that people need to talk about is the move is good for OU. Yeah. Whether it was DG's doing or OU's doing, because now Jackson Arnold gets 15 bowl practices.
100%.
Well, here's the question, because I read something earlier today that they hadn't determined if DG was going to play in the bowl or not. And so, do we have confirmation on that yet?
There's no way he's playing in the bowl game. And matter of fact, tonight at the I got to watch the first one, the huddle deal with Toby Rowland, Gabe Eichert, Caleb Kelly, that whole crew. They said now Jackson gets to take on this role. He gets to be the guy. Like
how
Caleb.
How excited are you to see him get all the preparation?
Yes,
the work. How excited are you?
Very.
Which, by the way, can we? Well, we're going to talk. Well, actually, I guess we
just do it now. Just do it now. Do it live.
We'll talk about now. Oh, he's playing Arizona. Did you know we're dogs in that game?
Yeah,
yes,
we are.
I would not.
I think the lines moved. Like I just looked before the pod started, and I think it's at 3.5 or 4 now.
It's because of DG's transfer.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm excited for it. I think it's a good. What we've kind of been pining for all season is to have him get some semi-meaningful reps, and this is as meaningful as you're going to get for him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm excited, but
it's got everything made right for him, right? In the sense that he gets the whole bowl preparation to get ready for it. He also gets a whole bowl preparation to start working on some continuity with Seth Luttrell and Joe John Finley as his OCs and the play calling and those kinds of things. So that will be huge. Well, he gets to play a great defense, which is a good little barometer for him. And he gets to play in an Alamo Dome where there's no weather concerns whatsoever of rain and wind and all the different things that could come his way.
So look, I'll be honest. So, and you've already called me out for it. I text you guys when the bowl selection came out, and I said I was not interested in this game because I said it, and I even Gabe said it, and it's apparently he's roasted people for it. To me, it's a lose-lose. You beat Arizona. I guess now we're dogs, but you know,
I don't disagree with you on the point you're making.
It's a lose-lose, and I was bitter because of the selection. Now that Jackson Arnold's a quarterback, I'm much more interested in watching the game, and especially now that we've had some of these other people enter the portal. This is going to be a perfect game for OU to showcase not only Jackson Arnold, but there's a whole lot of other guys that have only gotten like sparing time. Like
Peyton Bowen's going to start.
Yeah. RSJ.
As long as Peyton's healthy and not having to have some kind of shoulder surgery, he's starting.
Yeah.
I could not be more excited to see Jackson Arnold. I'm contemplating if I wasn't on severance right now, I'd be contemplating going to San Antonio right now.
Yeah. Dude, I'm not okay, can I tell you like why I felt like my heart was ripped out? Because like they showed, what did they show first? The Cotton Bowl, I think. They showed the Cotton Bowl. Okay. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, it's not the Cotton Bowl. I was like, yeah, bro, we got with the Peach Bowl. I can that's like a 5-hour drive. That's doable. And then like it came out and I was like, anyways, we're gonna get into that later.
Yeah.
But
here's the deal I would say too. So obviously we're talking about OU was selected to the Alamo Bowl when it was all kind of came together. That's where they're headed. That's going to be December 28th, that evening. And look, y'all are both saying it. It is a lose-lose, and that's okay. Now, there is one way that this comes out a win, and it's what I hope OU does. Look, I don't know what Danny Stutzman's decision is or isn't of coming back. It seems as though there's a lot of people indicating that he may be coming back. Nothing's guaranteed or reported, right? Even so, he has dealt with a nerve issue this year, and he has dealt with an ankle injury that kept him very hobbled down the stretch. I don't play him. I sit him, and he is a coach on the sideline, and you play all those young linebackers and let them get every ounce of snaps that they can. Because you know what you have in Danny Stutzman. You're not sure what you have in those other guys still yet, because I say that. I think we kind of know what we have in Kip, but he still needs more reps. I play all those guys. Same with the safeties. I'd sit Bowman, and I'm playing RSJ.
No, you don't sit Bowman.
Why?
Is he Bowman, if he's coming back?
Stop. Bowman has said he doesn't know if he's coming back, and he's going to play in the bowl. So if you sit him, that is a massive spit in the face. You do not sit Bowman.
I understand that, but that's because he hasn't made a decision yet, right? Like he announced that tonight, and I get that. But if he says, I'm for sure coming back, and you don't have at least a conversation of, can you just get fully healthy? Like, can we get you all the way right? Anything you need to get cleaned up or done, let's get done. And let's let these young guys play so that now when you're out there, you're not second guessing if the guy on your right or left doesn't know what they're doing. but we actually get 2 full weeks of camp and a scrimmage to get them ready for this. Like,
I just don't agree with you. I'm sorry. You play Danny. I'm not saying that they play 100% of the snaps, but if Danny and Billy Bowman both say whether they say they're coming back or not, if they say we're going to be available for the bowl game and you don't play them, I think that's a travesty.
I never said you sit them down and say you can't play. I'm saying you have a conversation with them and try to help them see the bigger picture.
You just said Danny should be a coach on the sideline.
Yes, that's what he ought to be. I'm not saying you force him into that. I'm saying you have a conversation and say, Danny, you need to get healthy. Let the young guys play because we know what we have with you. I'm saying that's the right option. Now, if they both say we're playing and we don't care, you play them, obviously. But the right decision, and the way that I was trying to make the argument, the way OU comes out with a win is to sit them and play your young guys, and you still trounce Arizona with all your inexperienced guys. That comes out a win. That's a talking point for OU going into the SEC, period.
But how likely is that if you play young guys that aren't ready, even though you put them through 2+ weeks of practice, and they lose, then you've hurt their confidence? Well,
okay, that's Jackson Arnold too, right? So don't play Jackson Arnold.
But here, you don't have a choice with Jackson Arnold.
Oh, sure you do. You've got 2 guys that have tons of experience on that roster right now.
Who?
Booty and Bevel.
Bro, I don't know.
I'm just saying, like,
you just said they were a 2-win team.
Troy and I are the 2 that have been drinking today, and I don't know what happened to my brother. But I'm saying,
no, y'all. What are y'all talking about? Y'all just said you don't want to play young guys and ruin their confidence, so don't play Jackson Arnold. Like, give me a break.
I never said don't play them. I'm saying
I'm giving you a counter to your argument.
Yeah, and my point is this. Especially Billy Bowman and Danny Stutzman. Like, you pick the 2 that I'm saying, if they say I'm available for the bowl game,
you play.
Whether the decision's made or not, you play them. And they don't. Maybe they don't play 100%.
You just said don't play them.
You said you started your argument by saying that. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Okay.
Okay. Did you interpreted what I said as literally that BV should go to them and say you're benched for the game whether you want to play or not? You did not hear me say.
Yes.
You said they should not play.
Yes, that's what we.
No, your words exactly like.
Yes.
I wish I rewind it.
Okay, yes, let's rewind it. What do the words mean? They should not play. Does that mean they cannot or they should not? Do you see the difference? I didn't say you can't play. I said if you really want to help this team get ready, they shouldn't. But if they want to, you play them. I don't understand.
Okay.
Well, Troy, how you doing anyway? Look, it's going to be
play.
There's going to be a lot of play. I would probably agree with you if one of them had some injury that clearly needed some sort of long-term recovery surgery.
Gentry's another example. He needs to get his shoulder cleaned out and done now.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's the case with Danny. We've not really ever got, we know his ankle situation, right? But he's been able to play on it. So maybe that's something he can just needs to rest, right? Or whatever. I don't know. If it was he's got some weird injury that's going to require surgery that he needs 4 months to recover from, I understand where you're coming from, because then he's going to be able to recover and be as much back for spring practices as he can be, right?
And winter workouts matter too.
Yeah, I agree with you, but that's what I'm saying. We don't know that. Billy Bowman, I don't see that he's he's had no major injury issues. So I don't know. Anyway, I don't. And by the way, also just to go down the list, Ethan Downs has said he is returning.
Yep. And
on the show, he also hinted that he thought Billy Bowman was returning, but Billy said that he was still undecided. So
yeah, Billy said he was undecided, didn't know what he was going to do yet. So again, you just said, and again, let me rephrase my statement as clearly as possible. It's a lose-lose game unless you sit your superstars and play young guys and win the game. That's how you win the day. That's how you come out with a win.
I think you win the day because DG transferred. If you win the game with Jackson Arnold at QB, you win the day. Period.
Yeah, I think Jackson Arnold playing alone.
It doesn't matter who else plays in the game. If Jackson Arnold wins.
If Jackson Arnold comes out and throws for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns or whatever, then you won.
Over under. Okay, let me put it this way: over under on Jackson Arnold throw or passing yards. I'm going to put the over under at 235.
Over.
It's a good line, isn't it, Daryl?
It is. Because their defense is salty.
I know.
Their defense is salty.
235 passing yards for Jackson Arnold. Over under. Jared says over.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I think he might hit right at 240, 250 would have been my guess.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'll say over, but I will say around the 250 mark. So I think it's going to be close.
Yeah.
Personally. Can we talk about the playoffs?
Hold on. Yeah, go ahead, Jared.
I was gonna say, I was just gonna ask real quick about the portal for OU. Can we talk about that just for a second?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. We have an idea who they're going after at this point?
That's what I'm saying. I don't. I mean, there's been BV retweeted. What was it? Some report about a Wisconsin. I don't remember his name. Wisconsin receiver. He retweeted it, which I thought was kind of funny about him entering the portal.
Yeah.
I could see them going after a receiver. I don't think it's really a position of need at this point. Unless there's things, like unless Farouk's planning on leaving, or Andrew Anthony's got some sort of bad news about his recovery, or what, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see that, but I could see them going after one. I think tight end, they're gonna have to go after a couple of tight ends, which Conyers just entered for Arizona State, and he was
an OU guy.
Yeah, he was enrolled. He was enrolled at OU and then transferred, but he went and signed at Arizona State. So yeah, I think they're gonna have to cover tight end guys.
There's several O linemen that they've been linked to as well. Golly, I can't remember the guy's name now. I should have written it down before I got on. He's like the all MAC guy. Like 2 years in a row, he's an all MAC offensive lineman. There's another guy that's one of the highest rated linemen in the portal that went in the other day, like overall lineman in the country. He was like top 10 rated, like PFF kind of guy that entered the portal. I think they're going after all those. And I don't know what to make of it. I cannot tell if it's just fans and boosters wanting to believe it or if there's real clarity to it. But David Hicks's name continues to come up from A&M, the defensive lineman. And even the Nolan kid. And then the other one is the Florida defensive lineman. McClellan is the last name. Apparently, there's a lot of smoke. There's a lot of smoke to that one.
Did you see Aaron Colvin's tweet?
Yes.
Aaron Colvin's like recruiting for OU, and he's like, I'll do it for free, dog. I don't care.
And he's trying to and apparently that conversation, you know how that goes. There's been some form of, I have interest in you all when I get in the portal. There's been some kind of, how all that works, whether that's through mom and dad or whatever the allowable channels are. But apparently that conversation's gone down, and that's another D lineman that could be coming in as well.
Well, and you also have, what was it? Isn't a corner from Clemson that entered, that there's been rumors that was very.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's hard right now to make sense because you know how it is. These guys throw their name in there and everybody looks for a connection, right? Like kind of like with DG, right? Well, him and Levy know each other, so that's the deal. Like even today when he entered his name, automatically Mississippi State came up. Okay, you're telling me if he really has the option of Mississippi State or Oregon, he's taking Mississippi State? There's no way. He's going to
I know. Yeah, exactly. Same with Lincoln Riley. Now, the thing with USC is like because of the OU connection, right? But I did read a report that Lincoln Riley went and visited with personally Will Howard.
Yes,
I know.
Which by the way, the USC site's reporting him as one of the elite quarterbacks in the nation. I was like, okay, look, I think Will Howard's really good, but I'm not tagging elite onto his name.
Y'all got Malachi Nelson. So you're telling me Malachi Nelson ain't ready yet?
No. Like, yeah, and they're writing that off as
guru, and he's not ready.
No, but he's this QB guru. But the guy that he recruited still needs a little bit more polish, I think is the word I saw them
give
using.
Me a freaking break with this. Give me a break.
Like it's wild.
And here's something I think Woody, like, we were having to talk about this real quick. Like, if Woody Washington goes, I think he still has a year of eligibility technically. So if he leaves, or I mean, like I said, there's some guys in the secondary that could still, after the bowl or whatever, leave for the NFL or leave to go transfer portal or whatever.
I feel everybody's been really worried about corner. I feel pretty good about corner. I think everybody is panicked about corner because down the stretch it was rough. But the reality is Vickers was hurt, Wagner was hurt, and Gentry was hurt. So it's not that you're like you literally just kind of got a random injury bug down the stretch where if you told us before the start of the year that you have 5 to 6 corners that you feel great about, you are not thin at corner. You just happen to have 3 guys get hurt that got you there, if that makes sense.
I'm not thin either, by the way.
Yeah, and Gentry, I would say Gentry is like I would be more on with what I interpreted you to say. Like, I don't think he should play in the bowl game.
Yo, go get that surgery done. Yeah,
go get that fixed, because like I think that dude's a freaking beast. I think if he gets healthy, I think he is.
Bowen is the superstar. Danny's the superstar, but Gentry is right there. He is right there as a bona fide superstar.
Gentry's that guy that if he like clicks one switch, then he is.
Yeah.
Could he guard Tyreek Hill?
Gentry?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can guard Tyreek Hill. So I think
sidebar. Here's a little stat for you about Tyreek Hill. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
He has 1,481 yards receiving. Okay. The entirety of the Cardinals wide receiver core has 1,412. The entirety of the Patriots wide receiver core has 1,359. Giants wide receiver core 1,327.
Let's not even mention that.
It is wild. What he is going to hit 2,000 yards.
You know what? Like, here's the thing. I will actually give props to him. I don't know if y'all saw. There was some reporter that made was trying to take a jab at Tua about his pass to him this last weekend. And Tua actually came to Tua's defense, was like, no, he's like, I ran the wrong route.
No, yeah, Tyreek was like, I ran the wrong route. Yeah.
He's like, I ran the wrong route, and Tua was smart enough to throw it so I could
I cut it in, and I shouldn't have cut it in. He made a great adjustment, got the ball. And by the way, they have the best touchdown celebrations. Seriously.
Yes. Yeah, they really do.
I was so happy about that. Okay, let's go back to OU.
By the way, the other thing with OU, just really quick, as far as like you were talking about, Jared, like who they're going to look for. Look, it's the same as everybody else. They're going to be looking for O linemen, D linemen, and I think corner. Those 3 are probably their most prior. Well, and tight end. Tight end actually would be number 3.
Tight end should be number 1 for them right now.
No.
Offensive line and then tight end.
Offensive line, then tight end.
Can you guys ever just agree with me? Freaking A. Just agree with me.
And by the way, there's also good news on the recruiting front. Somehow, some way, OU has made up ground on Eddie Pierre-Louis, EPL, also known as, very highly rated guy. He was all in OU, then he was all out OU. Apparently, it's a little bit back towards OU. Like, I'm not at all saying it's going to happen, but I'm just saying that fight is not over. I would
because
say
we lost Grant Bricks.
It might be.
And
no, we did.
Stone, David Stone's been tweeting a bunch of, which David Stone knows how to work social media, right? But he did tweet out, he's like, something's coming. And
I think that's David Hicks.
I think
that's David Hicks.
If I had to guess what that is about, I would think Hicks as well, because apparently David was trying to get Hicks on board even before David Stone's year to say, look, we're all going to come in together and get this thing going. Either that or the Nolan kid that was the number 1 overall recruit just a year or 2 ago. It's one of those 2.
Stone wants to make a splash on Twitter. It's Hicks.
Yeah.
But Hicks hasn't entered. Hicks hasn't entered his name yet.
He hasn't entered yet.
Don't matter. A&M sucks. They're gonna have.
hey, I'm cheering for him. I'm gonna be cheering for him in a few weeks.
Dude,
so
did you see that?
Who are they playing?
Did you see the
OSU.
tweet?
Dude, okay. By the way, can we just do this real quick, because we haven't even really talked about this about the Big 12 championship game. Over under 13 injuries for Ollie Gordon in their bowl game.
Hey, who took the over on that game? Jared? Pull up the stats. Pull up the stats on that. Who took the over?
Troy did.
I guess.
OSU sucks. It is a travesty that we were not in that game.
Yeah.
Dude, can we just talk about we tweeted and we got a bunch of interaction on it actually. Mike Gundy, the coach of the year. Okay, can we talk about how bad of coaching? Not like, don't get me wrong, there was no chance for OSU to win that game. No. But Mike Gundy definitely didn't give them any shot. You open the game, you have what you've touted. OSU has been choo-choo training Ollie Gordon as the greatest running back since Adrian Peterson, right? And all this other stuff. He's a great great running back. And the first 6 offensive plays of the game are passes.
Mm-hmm.
And then on a 3rd and 8 play where you're at that point of the game, you're trying to like keep yourself in it. 3rd and 8, you run up the middle with your backup running back. Big 12 coach of the year. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Way to go, Mike.
Here's the deal. I will say this, like from a talent standpoint, like you said, there was no chance. And the matchup of OSU versus Texas was terrible because Texas is legit in the trenches. And that's been the bread and butter of OSU down the stretch, is just running up the middle. And you can't do that against Texas. Their weakness is their secondary. That is the weakness. And they could not exploit it. And they did what all OCs do. They tried to outsmart themselves.
Dude,
instead of just going to Ollie Gordon, it's like, well, let's throw the ball 75 times. It's like,
here's what's funny. Like, and I know you guys are mad at me because I said I was cheering for Texas, which, don't get me wrong, pained me to do. But so many OU fans now, like OU and Texas fans, have this weird bond out of like how like obnoxious OSU became this year. Right? Like there was the whole cow incident that happened on campus. Didn't even put that in the flow. That was a coincidence that it was a Longhorn that was left on a frat house lawn. But that was a coincidence, guys, which apparently makes it better. I don't know. But I will give it to Quinn Ewers when he said this is for Bevo's cousin or whatever. Did you see that?
Yes.
I was like, I'll actually give it. There was some pretty fun roasts.
Dude, the best part of the whole game was Yormark. That was the only thing that interested me if Texas won, was watching Yormark have to give that trophy. And dude, Texas fans, as much as I don't like you, and I did not cheer for you to win, I wanted you to get throttled, but kudos to you, Texas fans. He sat there in absolute awkward uncomfortableness for like 2 minutes before he could say anything.
Look, when they started cheering SEC, I was literally rolling. I was like, this is the best. Like, I hate Texas with all my being. But like you said, you got to give him a little bit of a clap. But
that might have been the only time I ever chant SEC if I was in that stadium at that point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Things like that, or trying to trounce on refs for just screwing you over and over again. I can't do it for the other side of things. So, all right, let's move out of OU. Let's widen our view a little bit, shall we? Top 4 teams. Playoff is set. Michigan, Washington, Texas, Bama. Troy, you get to go first. Did this committee get it right?
I don't care about getting it right, but what did I tell y'all that would happen? SEC would not be left out.
You did.
I had an argument on GroupMe. Daryl was witness to it with another buddy of ours that SEC wouldn't be left out.
I thought Texas would get left out, honestly.
I didn't care who would be left out. I just said SEC will not be left out, period.
Yep.
Period. I had people roast me on it. I'm like, that's fine. The committee chose Bama over Florida State. Now, here's the funny part about this. This is so ridiculous.
I'm saving my J-Rod rant segment for this, by the way.
Yeah, it's fine. The ridiculous part of this is they didn't get the most deserving in there or the best 4, because I guarantee you right now, if Georgia was put on the field, it had a matchup with any of them, Vegas would have them as the odds-on favorite against every single team in the country. Bama again, period. So they didn't get the best 4 in there either. I don't know what dude, I'm telling you right, Georgia would be favored every single game.
Okay, but that doesn't make them better. That's my thing. That's not what makes them better. That doesn't make you a better football
Vegas
team.
Is the best. Like, I will say this. I hate Vegas. No, I don't hate Vegas.
No, we love Vegas.
Okay. Vegas is the best barometer of who is good and who is bad, who is favored over another one. Vegas wins a lot more than they lose. So who am I going to go with? I'm going to go with the odds on. Georgia would be the odds on favorite of every single team they play if you put them up, lined up against each other right now in the country. I'm not, and that's why I'm saying they didn't get the most deserving. Florida State was most deserving, and they didn't get the best because Georgia's in the top 4 in the best. One loss, 2-time national champion, and you keep them out because of a 3-point loss? Like, I don't know. Then all the advanced metrics have Ohio State in the top 4. All the advanced metrics do.
Yep.
So what was the committee doing? I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Money, money, money. That's what they were doing. Go ahead, Jared. What you got on this?
So, okay. So this is J-Rod's going to rant for a minute here. So I got in a big argument about this on the Discord about Florida State not being in. Florida State's undefeated. Should have been in. They should have basically had a berth into
100%.
the game. And the people saying, well, they're not the best team. They would get trounced. We don't know. We're never going to know now. I'm sorry if you go undefeated.
Vegas doesn't favor them, Jared. They would definitely get beat. Okay,
whatever. But you're telling me that a Power 5 team went undefeated, and by the way, their defense, what's his name? Dude, their defense is so crazy. Good. Did y'all see what's his name? Jared? Is it Jared Verse? Is that his name?
Yeah,
dude, that guy is like.
We saw him in the bowl game.
I know, but there was a play. Like, I'm telling you, this was like. I wish I could find it. I wish I had it, like, so I could just send it to you guys right now. There was a play where the left tackle for Louisville, who was apparently like a very highly talented 325-pound offensive tackle, was trying to protect, and he literally drove him into the quarterback and made him look silly. And it wasn't like the kid stumbled. It wasn't like he had even like really terrible form or anything. He's just that good. That defense is crazy good. And I honestly would say that they're probably number 1 or number 2 defense in the nation. But yeah, the fact that they try to justify with saying, well, they're not one of the best teams because Jordan Travis is out. Like, we don't know that. They've won every game without him. They won the game. They won the game with a QB3, their third string.
True freshman QB3.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, trying to say, well, they're not one of the best. Get out of here with it. Then why play the games? Let's just, you know what? Let's just skip the whole season. We'll put Georgia, Bama, Texas, and Ohio State in every year because they have the best recruiting classes, because they're the best teams, clearly. Let's just let them play. There's no reason for us to play any games.
I'm with you on this.
The defense of that is just absurd to me. Florida State should have been in. I honestly think Texas should have been in. And then now I'm going to go ahead and talk about how OU got shafted, because guess what? OU has the best win in the entire country. For those that don't know, OU has the best win. They beat the number 3 team in the nation. They're the only one. And they got shafted out. You know what? When you look at it, this committee was the worst committee. And I'm sorry, like, there has to be some continuity, in my opinion. Like, you need to have, like, if you want to bring in, you know, like, I say you have, let's just throw a number, 10 guys, or guys or ladies, whatever, come in, and that's the committee every year, right? Like, they have to be on for 5 to 10 years, or whatever term you put them on, or whatever. And then you can have 5 secondaries that rotate every couple of years or whatever, right? But you have to have some continuity, because this committee was absolutely a joke. You could tell they picked the top 6, and then they just didn't really touch anything else. They did the top 6, they put Liberty ahead of SMU, moved SMU up a little bit, and then they were done. Like, the fact that OU beat not only has the best win in the entire country, and they beat SMU, who is a 2-loss conference champion, who's ranked now. They have a better resume. There's almost nothing in any of the other teams in Penn State, in Ole Miss, in Mizzou's resume that is better than OU's. It's a joke, like an outright joke. And You
well,
know, I don't.
the Liberty one I think is more egregious than the OU being left out of the top 11.
The chairman, did you hear what he said about Liberty when they asked him, why did you put Liberty above SMU?
Because they won all their games.
Yeah. Well, they just kept winning.
That's
they have for those that don't know,
Yep.
they have the 133rd out of 133 strength of schedule. The worst, they couldn't be any worse, but they kept winning. But because Jordan, and like now the argument is also, you look at Florida State. Like, I'm not even a Florida State fan. I could care less about Florida State. But I'm so mad at them because it's the precedent that it sets.
Correct.
And
because you're right. This year is the first year where they've really done something where the precedent is now set, just like you said, Jared. Don't play the games. Like Georgia, just, you know what? Play your guys every week. Keep them healthy. Keep them good, because Vegas is going to favor you. Because Vegas favors you, you're the best team and you should be in. Right. And then for Kirk Herbstreit to be the guy chanting that Florida State shouldn't be in, the loudest of anybody who has a voice in college football, when his own alma mater won a national championship with a third string quarterback. Everyone said they shouldn't be in. Everyone said Ohio State had no business being there. And then they get in and win the whole dadgum thing. And then, by the way, the quarterback who looked okay playing his first game ever for Florida State was not the guy playing in the ACC championship game. He's the guy that's going to play the playoff game and going to have 3 to 4 weeks to get ready for that game. And again, this is where the problem of they have zero criteria. The only criteria they put down is best team, which just leaves it completely subject. Because here's the other thing really fast. If it had come down, let's just say they said, you know what, you're right. Washington, they're in, right? Michigan, you're in, and Florida State, you're in. So we've got to decide between the others. Most people were saying, right, well, Texas beat Alabama, right? Therefore, Texas should go in. I'm sorry. If you're asking me who's the best team, it ain't Texas. Alabama is a better team, hands down, today than they were those first 3 weeks of the season. They are a completely different team. But I agree that Texas beat them, and winning and losing games needs to matter. That has to matter. You can't look at a 3-loss team and go, we still think they're the best.
Well, here, and I just want to touch on two things. Because one, the argument I keep hearing is, well, Florida State would be a dog in every game. And I agree with what Troy's saying to some degree. However, to say, well, Georgia or Florida State would probably lose, we will never know. That is a tired and stupid argument, in my opinion. We'll never know.
Last I checked, Georgia was favored against Bama, correct?
Yeah, last I checked, Ohio State won the national championship with their third string.
Right. That's what we're just saying. Yeah, my whole argument is we'll never know. Florida State got jobbed out of it. I've literally, as being an OU fan and seeing some of the things, I have bias. It's honestly, Florida State probably got screwed harder than anybody in college football in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad.
It has never been a case in college football that a Power 5 team can go undefeated and then just be forgotten in the.
And by the way, I wasn't stating that I agreed that Georgia should be in. I was just saying, if we're talking about the best 4, Georgia would be in. I think Florida State deserved to be in, and they should have been in because they won every freaking game.
Right. And again, that's what I'm saying, Troy. I'm with you, but that's where when you have zero criteria except for the best, and look, this has happened every year. The goalposts have moved every year, right? Yeah, because that one year when OU was on the precipice, when TCU and Baylor were on the precipice of getting in, well, they don't have a conference championship game. We can't put them in because Ohio State and all these other teams played an extra game. Oh, okay, well, let's go get a conference championship game. And then the very next year, the Big 12 gets a conference championship game and they win it and they go, well, the team that didn't play in the conference championship, we really think's the best team. They just didn't get the opportunity to play it. And it's hold on a second. We talked about data points. Now the data point doesn't matter. Now the conference championship doesn't matter.
This is why I said you should have some continuity between on the committee.
But the continuity is not going to change anything, Jared. Like if there's no rules to what the best is, how to define the best, how's continuity going to change anything?
And some of this is going to be fixed for the 12-team playoff. And I know we're going to talk about that in a minute. Here's what I was going to say, because I haven't even got to this point. If I'm any team in the country, literally any team in the country, you know what the standard is now? If a player goes down with a cramp, I'm running out there with an injury tent and rolling the player off to the side without anybody being able to see what happened. I'm not even kidding. Because you know what? If Florida State had some deniability to say, well, we think he could be back, how's the committee leave him out? They don't have an argument. Their argument is Jordan Travis isn't available, so they're not the same team. So if Florida State came out and said, no, we think Jordan Travis could very well be back, we just need to rest him for the conference championship game, how are they going to leave him out?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's no logic. Like when you really start breaking it down, it's like, and I like, to be honest with you, it's like if you're a college football fan, if you're a sports fan and you saw Jordan Travis's tweet where he said, I'm sorry that I didn't get injured earlier in the season. Like, you know how heartbreaking that is? Like, I'm sorry, that guy deserves, like, kudos to Jordan Travis. Like, yeah. I'm sorry, that's a leader. I hope that he recovers, but Florida State got completely jobbed.
Go, Troy.
I don't know if you guys saw this. Blue Blood Bias is a
you're talking about the ESPN. Yeah, it's a
that's a
is it a parody?
Yeah, it's a terrible. Yeah, it's just a stir the pot account.
All right, never mind. I won't bring it
up. So I just want to spin to this really quick, and then we'll talk about some Thunder stuff to kind of wrap up. But Troy, do you feel? I mean, obviously, this was the year to have a 12-team playoff for one. For two, does the 12-team format make you more, or like moving to the 12-team format, are you more excited about it with all this chaos, or are you more concerned that it's just going to get even stupider moving to 12 teams than it is?
Can it be both? Like, I think it's both. I'm excited about it, but at the same time, like, this was the year for the 12-team, man. I mean, I know I get the argument that OU wouldn't have gotten in, by the way, and agreed with both of you. OU's resume stacks up better than everybody else's with the 2 lost teams. Whatever. Mm-hmm. Not going to go there. Because I heard Traber even say today on the radio, Bama has the best win in the country. Technically, they don't. Technically, OU has the best win in the country. Because who's number 3 in the country? It's Texas with 1 loss. Who's their 1 loss? To OU. Mm-hmm. Just saying. But I'm excited about the 12-team. I'm ready for it to get here. But gosh, ACC, you suck for delaying it a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, here's my thing. I think with the playoff, I think that it makes things better. I think there's still going to be controversy. There's controversy. We've had controversy in NFL where there's a clear cut. There's not a committee. There's a clear cut. There's tiebreaker rules and all those things. And there's still controversy as, well, that team was better than this team or whatever. Right. So I think you're going to have some of that regardless. I think expanding to 12 will make it better because you'll at least be able to say, I guess, Power 4 conference champs are going to get automatic bids or whatever. And it's like you're going to have those last couple of spots or whatever that people are going to argue over. I just think I think, again, it's going to come down to the problem is, like you kind of alluded to, Daryl. And I would say, you have to set criteria in place. I think you have to get continuity into the committee because I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, it's like, it doesn't matter because every single time you put a whole new group of people in, which people have made the point, it's like a lot of it's like athletic directors and stuff that like aren't experts on football.
100%. That's my bigger issue with the committee.
Yeah, like I actually agree with what Gabe said about it. Because he said, they should have like scouts or whatever, former like NFL player or whatever, like people that know football.
Yes.
And I think, like I said, I think it should be like when you're elected to the committee or however you're selected to the committee, you have to be on it for 4 years or whatever term you determine. That way you have people that have a set, like they interpret the rules and they can start setting a standard of this is how the committee should select teams instead of rotating it so much that every year you have a commissioner that says the opposite of what the previous one. Like, I mean, that's somehow happened where we've been in we've had almost 10 years, it's like 9 years of the playoff. and somehow we've had 9 opposite reactions to how we rank things. Like, I don't know. Like, it's honestly right now the committee is a bigger joke, and I've even made the lobby and people have laughed me out of the room. I think the computer should have a portion in it. Like, I think you should develop a computer model, and it shouldn't decide, but it should have like maybe 20%. Like, it has some sort
At
of
least
like
it's
20%.
unbiased.
Yeah, it's yeah. Like,
the only thing the computer can't do, and I'm with you, the only thing the computer can't do is what we were talking about. If you put it in a computer formula, Bama is better than Texas. And again, I think today, Bama is playing better football today than they were at the start of the year. And I think they're playing better football today than Texas has down the stretch. Agreed. Right. But and it can't decipher that. Right. Like, that's the thing that it's hard for it to decipher. But again, I think if you make it a percentage, it works. So I don't disagree with you all on that. I agree with you about, and there's 1,000 other people saying it too. You need to get coaches. You need to get coaches and players in the room, not currently, but people who know the game and people who love the game and would be willing to actually watch the games correctly to do this. But again, continuity would help, but not until you have some standards. Like, again, I think one of the main standards should be, if you are undefeated in a Power 5, you are in. That should be a standard to where it's not just undefeated, because we all agree undefeated Liberty should not be in the playoff. We can all agree on that. But if you go through a Power 5 conference undefeated and a conference champion, you are in, period. And there should be those kinds of little things through there to help guide their argument, to where you don't come in and go, why is Oregon ranked over Texas? And you go, well, Bo Nix is completing 78% of his passes. It's like, what does that have to do with why you picked this team over the other? Now, what I'm excited about with the 12 is that there are those rules. You're a conference champ, you're in. And then we can argue about the people that come in behind. So there's a little bit of a mix of stupid television alumni bases and who travels well, combined with you actually earned your way and you deserve to be there. And I hope that plays out well moving forward, but we'll see.
Yeah. And I mean, just, I think that it's something that's going to have to be I think people, like I said, there's what's funny is like, well, FSU's fan base, like, it's a lot more than FSU's fan base that are upset about it. Everybody outside of Bama's fan base is pretty upset about it.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think like a poll you could tap is, it's like there's plenty of NFL players that still follow college closely. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you could get, there's a ton of pool of people that you could get to help with the committee. So yeah.
Carol McCoy would be on that in a heartbeat, right? So
yeah. OU being every year, it'd be fine.
By the way, Caleb opts out of the bowl. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. I love, Jared, you put this in there. The only bowl game that Caleb Williams will have ever won, he was coached by Bob Stoops.
Correct.
Yep.
That's wild.
Yep.
It is wild.
I mean, look, it's funny to me. I like I said, I hope that the dude goes. It's apparently he's going to be a Bear or a Patriot at this point. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be cheering for him, but it's funny to me that he's one of the best college quarterbacks ever, and Lincoln's got to put on his resume that he never won a conference championship with him, and he never won a bowl game with him. That's why. Is that not just wild to you guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is wild.
Very. It makes no sense to have that kind of talent, and he didn't. And there are parts of his game that regressed as he moved along as well. And so that's the other end of it. So, well, let's move out of college football and into, hey, the Thunder played this team in Dallas called the Mavericks. Troy, can I ask this? Was it the Thunder's greatest 3 quarters and the worst 4th quarter in their history?
Probably not. No. Gosh, the hyperbole with you. I can't handle your hyperbole.
It was a 31-4 run in the 4th quarter.
30-0. 30-0 run. And so here's I guess this is the glass half full viewpoint. Shea scores 17 points. We give a 30-0 run, and we still win by 6. I think that's how good this team is. Now you can say like, oh my gosh, you gave up a 30-0 run. That's so rare in the NBA. That's true. That's very true. Can't deny that. But this team is legit, man. And what that game felt like a year or two full of like lessons being learned type of game. Because here's the thing, when a team goes on a heater, the team goes on a heater. And if you watch that game during that 30-0 run, there were a few possessions where they rushed themselves. They were in their feels. But they also generated some really good looks on offense during Dallas's 30-0 run, and they missed them. Dallas was literally hitting every freaking thing. And then what happens? Then Chet gets involved. Chet blocks three shots in that fourth quarter after they got down 6, and they won by 6. So they went on a, what was it? Like they went on a 15-3 run or something like that, somewhere around there, something like that. Dude, and they were good. Shea was good. Like, they were great in the first 3 quarters. Luka and team got super hot in the fourth. But then they cooled off and they won the game by 6. They're the only team in the top 5 in both offense and defense. They're number 2 in the NBA in net rating. Again, what can you say about the game? I'm fine with it. Like, you know, you don't want them to see them give up a 30-0 run, but they handled it. That's the takeaway. They gave up a 30-0 run and they handled it. They came back and they learned, and they went on a 15-3 run. Suck it, Luka.
Well, I think it was, from my perspective, Troy, I'd say this, like, that's the kind of win this team needs, in the sense of, I think Dallas is a playoff team, but I don't see them as a contender team right now, though, as they are constructed. There's not enough defense on that roster, in my opinion, to really push. Whereas, as of right now through this season, we'll see if it lasts, the Timberwolves are apparently a contender. The Sixers are contenders. The Nuggets are contenders, right? Those are the teams that have beat you.
Really. But by how many points? The only time we got blown off.
No. I'm just saying, like, I don't think any of us saw the Thunder as a contender team. So the only teams that they're really consistently losing to are the contender teams, and they're beating the teams that are playoff teams. That's what I'm saying it as a positive way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so, and they're right there. I mean, the Timberwolves, they lost by 3. The Sixers, they lose by 4. But like, the Lakers are another one right now. As they are constructed, I know LeBron can do a lot, but as they are constructed, I don't think they're a true contender for a championship over.
But LeBron did play. Like, he was questionable. So that's a true testament. They felt like they needed that game. LeBron, when he's questionable, typically is like, I'm out, even on the back end of a back-to-back. And he's like, I'm not playing. But he played because they felt like they needed that game.
Mm-hmm.
So by the way, just a quick stat and point difference, the Thunder are second in the league.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Net rating.
Yeah.
Net rating. They're number 2.
So and what I was also going to say real quick is, or I guess ask Troy, I said at the beginning of the season, before the season started, 50 wins for the Thunder team. And Daryl's kind of scoffed at me. Daryl was like,
I scoffed. I'll be honest. I scoffed at you as well.
We talked about this last week. We already gave you
but how scoffing are you at me now, Troy? You're the Thunder
I'm not, because they're 13-6, dude. They're second in the West, and we're 19 games in. We are 19 games in, and they're not going away. They're not going away. So, as much as I want to say, like, maybe it's going to be around the 48 mark, I don't know, dude. Like, they'd have to get a serious injury with J-Dub or Chad or Shea or somebody like that. But we've also seen, like, when Shea was out, we scored 130 some odd points against the Warriors, barely lost to the Warriors in that game. So I don't The team currently constructed is very, very, very good.
And how about Troy? I'm sorry I put you on the spot on this question. I should have given you a heads up because
That's all right. I'm all good. I love it.
The Bertans contract.
Yeah, it got adjusted a little bit so they don't have to deal with the 75% or 66%.
Okay, so what did they explain that though for those that don't understand?
Nope,
like what?
Nope. I'm not gonna explain it because I'll be honest with you, I don't understand it.
But like, what freedom does it give the Thunder now? It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. My understanding is they don't have to pay, or maybe his contract came down. I don't understand it. But obviously it freed them up to feel like they could play him because as soon as there was an announcement that his contract was restructured, he was on the floor the very next day.
Yeah, I don't know. I read it to something like they don't have to deal with like the whole like keeping them off the floor for a third of the season or something like that. I don't know. That's how I read it. I don't know if that's right. Somebody will probably tell me I'm wrong. That's fine.
But he would be a great, like, if you could feel comfortable to just turn him loose and play him, that changes a lot.
It does. Here's the problem with Bertans. And as much as I love watching the dude because he has the greenest of lights in the entire NBA, the problem is he's a black hole. He's a black hole of the ball. If it hits his hands, it's going up. And that's not always the best thing for the offense.
Sure.
So, like, as much as I want his presence out there, like him and Isaiah Joe, 2 of the top 10 3-point shooters in the game right now, out there at the same time. I mean, it's amazing to think about it, but also it kind of freaks me out a little bit with Bertans just like a black hole of the ball. He's kind of Carmelo in that respect. And Carmelo held the ball for a lot longer. Bertans, it's up. He touches it and it's up. It's towards the rim. It's crazy. And here's the crazy part about it is half the time it goes in. It's wild.
Yeah. The one shot he made the other night, like where he basically was dribbled out as fast as he could.
Yeah, he's running baseline. He's a boom. Wild, dude. Unbelievable. He had 15 points on 3 shots.
Yeah. 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 He brings an element for sure. But with some size. Because the only other guy that I feel like has a green light like that is Isaiah Joe. And the size differential is fairly large.
Yes. Isaiah Joe and Bertans have the greenest of lights, and Shea has the greenest of lights. He can do whatever he wants.
Well, yeah, Shea, yeah, of course.
But I will sit here and say, like, he might be a top 5 player now. Like, Shea is so dang good. Because you saw our defense against Luka was trap at the top, get the ball out of his hands. Their defense against Shea was trap at the top, get the ball out of Shea's hands. They implemented the exact same defense.
So who would be your top 5 right now?
Oh, that's a good question. All right, hold on. It's a great question. All right.
Jokic has got to be one of them. I mean, I'm saying one of the top 5.
Yeah, in no particular order.
Right.
In no particular order.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Jokic. Oh, this is really hard.
Giannis, maybe?
I'm not putting Giannis. I don't know if I put Giannis in the top 5 at the moment.
Tatum?
Hold on. Now, okay. Shoot.
Embiid?
Yes. Embiid. Luka. Jokic. KD.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
I would have not put KD in there.
I'd actually put Giannis, I think, above KD personally, but
well, when KD is shooting nearly 50% at 3-pointer and 31 points a game,
that's fair.
It's a good season.
Yeah.
Like KD is having, nobody's talking about it. He is having a phenomenal season.
So then your 5th would be Shea?
No, I think my fifth is either Shea or Steph. Because Steph is also having a phenomenal season.
Yeah.
How old is Steph now? Steph's like, what, 34 or something?
I'll tell you. I got it right here. Steph is 35.
That's crazy, dude.
But he is Yeah, and then right there with Shea is Tatum, Giannis. Tatum and Giannis are right there with him. Um, I think that's my top five. Like, I still think I put Steph above Shea, but y'all it is very, very close at this point.
Well, that's not even acknowledging that Shea is what 24 or whatever he is.
No, 100%. And he's leading the NBA in steals right now. He's in the top. He's number 6 in points per game. Or tied for 5. Sorry, with Giannis. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, he's crazy good.
Speaking but like that game, by the way, that Luka had against us, that game was wild because he had 36 points, 18 assists, and 15 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 2 steals.
Good Lord.
But he also had 7 turnovers.
Well, yeah, I mean,
but I think I could live with 7 turnovers with 18 assists.
Well, yeah, when your player usage is like 80%. Good Lord.
Man.
So speaking of can we change gears just for 1 second? Because I know we need to wrap quick.
Sure.
Did you know Wrexham won the second round of the FA Cup? So they're moving on to the FA Cup. And they're second in the table.
Yes, I did know they were second in the table.
But it's crazy. Like, if you look at this league, like, okay, let me put it this way. The top 6 teams, well, okay, you can't take the top teams. The top teams ahead of Wrexham by 5. But the number 2 through number 6 team are separated by 1 point.
Yeah.
In the table.
Yeah.
So I love to hear that. By the way, everybody is saying Chet is rookie of the year. Everybody and their dog is saying Chet is rookie of the year at the moment. And he's going to get a lot of push for all-star right now. Like, he could be an all-star right now. J-Dub is getting back to his efficient ways. And all that's going on around Giddey is really affecting him. It is really affecting Giddey right now.
Well, did you see the girls?
So.
There was some big, I remember what her name is. There's some high profile attorney that's trying to get the family to hire her to sue him or whatever. That whole situation's so weird. But yeah. So, by the way, did y'all finish? Welcome to Wrexham, by the way? Have y'all finished?
No, I haven't finished season 2, so no spoilers. Another thing is
I'm going to know what happens.
I know. Just shut up. The Bengals.
By the way, the Titanic sinks. We landed on the moon.
Are you sure we land on the? I'm not going there. The Bengals beat the Jaguars tonight, and Trevor Lawrence went down with a ugly injury. Had to be helped off the field, along with Christian Kirk. But dude, give me the Thunder. Like, I want to watch the Thunder. I'm just pissed that the Thunder are off for 3 straight days. Ugh.
Yeah, and I'm still mad that they are on Valley Sports. That's
Daryl. You looks like you're going 0-2 this week on fantasy. I think
most likely.
It is a massive, massive blow to your playoff efforts.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, my whole bench just has O's next to their names.
Yeah, there's nothing you could do this week.
No. I did all I could trading for Russell Wilson, hoping that he might score some points this week and get things moving, but the rest of the team was so bad. Yeah. It's not good. It's not good at all, my friends. It's not good.
Hey, let's go with some video game news. Jared, what's your game of the year?
Oh, man, game of the year. I've been hyping. I know it's like recent, so maybe it's recency bias. Like, Lethal Company's got to be up there just because it's $10 and it's such a good, stupid game. All
right, do the game awards, like, of the 6 that are on the game awards finalists.
Who is it? I don't even remember.
Baldur's Gate 3, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2, and what was the last one? Snap, what was it? Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Probably Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, that's mine.
It's really, really good. Yeah, I would definitely probably go Baldur's Gate 3, but it's kind of been like a weird game. It's like, I feel like this has been a weird year of gaming because, like, there's been good games on every platform, but like no platforms just had like a ton of good releases. You know what I mean? Like it's like Nintendo had a couple, like PC and console had a couple. Like there was like I feel like it was just kind of an awkward year. There's a lot of disappointments like in
See,
gaming.
I disagree. I thought this was one of the best years of gaming, period, ever.
Oh, I can't go by. Was it 2008? I can't say that was better than 2008.
I said one of. I'm not saying like 08 with like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 1 or 2 or whatever that year was, and
Yeah,
everything was crazy. But like Baldur's Gate, Starfield, Zelda, Jedi Survivor, Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 16, Resident Evil 4
Diablo
remake.
4 was terrible.
No, it wasn't. Get out of here.
It was trash.
All right, we need to do a separate video game.
Oh my
pod
gosh.
because
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah. So, anyways, you guys go finish Wrexham, by the way, because it's actually the last couple episodes are like not like tear jerkers, but it's like way more emotional, like charged.
Oh, I bet.
I totally bet. If you want to watch a really good show, watch Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, the Apple TV show.
I need to go. That actually reminds me, I need to finish or catch up on For All Man. Have you seen For All Mankind, Troy?
I need to watch For All Mankind. I've heard it's really good.
It's really, really good. Yeah, I need to finish that, and yeah, I guess I need to watch Monarch. I've heard good things, but
Monarch is awesome. It is like Lost and Godzilla had a baby when they came up with Monarch. Seriously.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check it. There's a lot of good stuff coming out, and like I still haven't seen. You know, talking about entertainment, it's like apparently the Willy Wonka movies actually got a lot of
looks delightful. Yeah,
yeah. Charlie Chalamet is supposed to be like I guess it's supposed to be like a prequel, right?
Yes.
To like the other ones or whatever.
Daryl, are we going to go see that together?
Sure.
Can we share a popcorn?
Sure.
That sounds delightful.
Well, very good. Well, that is all we have got for this particular episode. We probably will not do 2 episodes a week moving forward. We'll let you know for sure. But obviously without any games, at least until bowl week, I guess there could be 2 pods that week.
I might. I got the time.
Hey, let's do a video game pod, Troy. I got time.
There you go. There might be new content coming to the podcast of not just Oklahoma sports, but Oklahoma gaming sports as well. So again, we are having a great time. We hope you are too. I'm Daryl. That's Jared and Troy, and we will talk to you guys later.
Bye, Baker. Good win this weekend.